So then we have done this incentive to hard work, because you are doing your best, you are doing efficient production, incentives are given so that you can give in your best. Okay, economic freedom, I've told you, entry and exit is free both for producers and consumers. Consumers have a freedom to consume what they want, producers have a freedom to produce what they want. Okay, increase in production and standard of living. Now, increase in production, why increase in production? Because I told you it is a demand motivated market. Okay, the thing which is in demand, more and more producers will want to produce it, because this thing is going to give them what? Profit, right?
Profit, ma'am.
Production producers see that this is the particular commodity which is more in demand, so more profit would be there, so more and more sellers are there for that product, or more producers are there for both. So that is why there is increase in production. Okay, plus there is freedom to consumers also, what they want to consume according to their want, according to their satisfaction, what they want to derive maximum satisfaction out of, they choose their consumer products. Okay, so that is why in for a particular product there is increase in production. And when there is increase in production, we have learned it, all the economic activities are ultimately related to the production mechanism in the economy. Yes, so when there is increase in production, there is increase in welfare also, your income levels increase. Yes, when there
Yes,
is a
ma'am.
large scale production, more employment generation is there, so your more income is generated. When more income is generated, automatically your standard of living increases, or it is better. More production, this I have already told you, more production, more output, national income increases. High income means high standard of living, right? Now, because Adam Smith was one of those who was in favor of capitalism, and if you remember, when we did the definition that was given by him, he had said that increase in production, increase in the overall national output means increase in welfare of the society. Increase in wealth is related to increase of welfare. Yes, so Adam Smith was one of the proponents of capitalism. Okay, till here it is clear. Now, if something has merits, it also has demerits. Okay, yes or no? So if capitalism has its merit, it has a lot of its demerits also. So let's study what are the demerits. Now, one of the most prominent person, economist, who was against capitalism was Karl Marx. Okay, he is also known as father of communist philosophy, because and if you have heard the term Marxism, lot of time it is used Marxism. Yes, there is a term known as Marxism. This is inspired by Karl Marx, because Karl Marx was totally against capitalism. He had written a book, Capital, and he had severely criticized the capitalist form of society. Okay, and he was a prominent proponent of socialism. Okay, we will learn about socialism in the next this thing. Let's see how he contradicted, how he said why capitalism is not fruitful or it is not beneficial. Okay, so the first thing that we in his book he had written, because there is a lot of competition in the market, right? Both the factor market and the production market. The laborers are made to work for nearly 12 hours and they are paid only for 6 hours, right? There is a lot of exploitation of the poor. There is a lot of class conflict. There is a lot of difference between the rich and the poor, right? Rich here is the producers, poor are the laborers that are working in those. Okay, there is a lot of difference. What else did he say? Let's just see what was he saying. First is inequality in distribution of income and wealth. Okay, now this inequality in distribution of income and wealth is because producers, or it's only a few rich men, there is a free entry and exit in capitalism. So one, though the products are very limited which will maximize your profit, people will go on for that production only. So there is a lot of, a few rich people only have the wealth in their hands. Okay, rest all are the working class or the labor class. And he already said that there is a lot of exploitation in this. Okay, people are working for more hours and getting paid for less hours. Okay, so this was one of the things he said. There is inequality in distribution of income and wealth. When you see the national income is the overall production that has happened in the economy in a particular year. So that does not tell you ki there was, suppose it's a 100 crore thing, 50 crore came from the rich and 50 crore came, it does not, national income does not tell you, it does tell you the aggregate of it, so you don't know. But what happens is most of it is the production which is happening in the hands, which is in the hands of the rich people. Poor people are only the working class. Okay, so when you see the national income, yes, it is growing, economy is growing, yes, the national income is very good, welfare has increased, but actually it is, the distribution of income is very screwed. It is rich people have more money, more wealth than the poor people. Okay, the same is with the class conflicts, right? Marx said that in capitalism the society is divided into two, the haves and the have nots, that is the rich and the poor. And there is, since there is inequality in distribution of income and wealth, there is a lot of class conflict between them. Okay, there is always a strikes and lockouts frequently take place in this, because the working class is not happy with the wages or with the working conditions, all this of the producers that they provide, right? Producers are only looking at profit maximization. And how do they maximize this profit? If they cut down their cost. And how will they cut down their cost? By taking in, reducing the cost that they have to incur for labor, for material, for capital. Okay, so there is a lot of class conflict because of this. Then unemployment. Why unemployment? Because there is overproduction in one sector, right? And the other sector is neglected. Are you understanding? When I say capitalism has free entry and exit, and producers go for those things which have maximum demand, which have more of demand, right? So there is overproduction in that sector. Obviously, because people are looking to maximize their profit, they say, okay, this thing is in more demand, we'll produce more of this. So the other sectors are neglected. So there is always a possibility in such kind of economy that depression will set in. There is overproduction in the market. चीजें बहुत ज़्यादा available है market में, right? Of one particular kind. So there is always a fear that depression can set in these kinds of economy, and with depression comes unemployment. Okay, when depression is there, there is less of money in the overall economy, and when there is less of economy, there is cutting down of size employment, cutting down of wages of workers. So when there is this cutting down, there is always a fear of unemployment combined with depression in the economy. Okay, then is
Ma'am?
yes.
Ma'am,
Yes,
over here we are talking about India or worldwide?
we are talking about capitalism as such, not about India. We are not learning about Indian economy, we are learning about economy as a whole, how economies are divided. Okay, so we are learning about one type of economy, which is capitalist economy. I have not told you India does not have a capitalist economy. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
right? I gave you the countries which still follow a capitalism. Yes, sorry. So next is exploitation. Exploitation, I have already told you, capitalism, it is believed that rich always exploit the poor, right? To increase their profit, they will try to minimize the cost of production, and cost of production, labor comes, and they always try to minimize their wages. Okay, proper hygienic conditions are not given to them, proper wages are not given to them, more working hours are taken out of them, paying them less. So there is always a fear of exploitation of poor people in this. Okay, so the rich, they lead a very luxurious life, but the poor in such economies lead a very miserable life, right? Then wastage of resources. Why wastage of resources? Because this economy is based on demand, right? This is a demand economy. Where more demand is, those products are more manufactured. Other than, so if suppose there is a more demand for luxury goods or more demand for consumer products, right? Those products are manufactured more, and other products are not considered that much. Like suppose there is a more demand for cars, so more production of cars will happen. So what will happen? There is abundance of cars in the economy, right? These many cars are not required, but because of the demand factor, there is abundance of cars in the economy. So it is actually a wastage of resources. That many cars are not required. Those resources which are used for the manufacturing of a car, steel and whatever fuel has gone into it, whatever else has gone into it could be used in some other sector, right? So this is actually a wastage of resources. Clear this point? Now there are economic fluctuations. Okay, there is one more thing in this wastage of resources. Yes, I told you that technological advances takes place in this, right? Now in there is one drawback in technological advances. We bring in new technology. What do we do with the old one? What do we do with the old one?
Ma'am, we don't use it.
Don't use it, you dump it, right?
Yes,
So
yes, ma'am.
bringing in of new technology, although is an advancement in technology, it also wastes your resources, because what now has become obsolete is not of any use to you, right? Every year a new phone is launched, every month, in fact every 2-3 months a new phone is launched. Yes, so if people buy more of those new phones, what do they do with their old ones? They do nothing, it's just lying
Ma'am, they
around.
sell it. Yes.
Either they sell it if it is not very old, or it's just lying around in the dump yard or at your homes only, right? Nobody is using it. It's a wastage of resources. It's of no use. Those resources which are used for that could have been used for something else. Okay, so wastage of resources happen a lot in capitalism. Okay, and people, because there is a lot of competition, the producers spend a lot of money on advertisement also, which is a wastage of money as such, right? It is not being put to any productive use. Advertisement is not any productive use, is it? Okay, then economic fluctuation. Price fluctuations are very common in capitalism. Why? Because everything is based on price only. This is a price mechanism, right? Demand is connected to the price of the thing. If for the same things, one person is charging 10 rupees, another person is charging 8 rupees for the same type of thing, obviously people will go for the commodity which is charged at 8 rupees. Okay, so price plays a very important role in capitalism, and because it is price based, there are a lot of fluctuations in price because of the competitions that are happening, and too many economic fluctuations in an economy is not good. Okay, there has to be stability in the economy. Yes or no? Too much fluctuation is not good in anywhere, is it? Isn't it?
Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
right. And because this is a capitalism which is based on demand, it is not planned. There is nothing planned here. It is an unplanned economy. An unplanned economy, some of the resources are overused, some of the things are totally neglected, right? Some sectors are totally neglected, especially the social welfare sector is totally neglected, and consumerism is more abundant. Okay, this I have, this is the next point, that is self interest in place of social welfare. Because it is a profit maximization, producers go in for profit maximization only. They look at themselves first at self interest only. Even consumers, they also look at themselves for self, they want to satisfy their want. Okay, so social welfare does not have any place in this kind of economy. Okay, and because there is less of social welfare, it is an unbalanced development. There will be balanced development only when the poor people are also taken care of, the society is on a whole is taken care of, right? Now if it is a demand based economy, the poor, the backward places, they are not taken care of, right? And for overall development of a place, this also, the social welfare also should be included, because it is a self interest motivated economy. Social welfare has very less place in it, and therefore it is a unbalanced development. Okay, the point demerits are clear to all of you. Now
Yes, ma'am.
pure capitalism is not anywhere found in this world, right? Because of these demerits only. I told you US, Canada, Australia, these all follow the model of capitalism. Yes, Pit.
Ma'am, I mean, economic fluctuation. When we said that most of the people, instead of going for going for the product which is worth more, they go for the product which is the minimum cost, same quality. But then there are some people in the world who don't go for cheap products. I
Yes,
mean,
there
they
are.
don't like
Their
it.
taste and preferences are different. That is taste and preferences. Yes, but generally we are talking about normal goods. What happens in normal goods is it is always decided by the price. Now when you say that quality is same for both the products, yes, there is no change in quality, and price will be like, not that one is at 100 rupees and one is going to be at 50 rupees at the same quality. It does not happen like this. Yes,
Yes.
there will be little variations. So in those little variations also, as a person who want to maximize my satisfaction, I would want to buy 100 rupees a maximum things that I can buy, right? So I go for a cheaper thing. It does not mean that I am going for a lesser quality thing. I'm going for a cheaper thing of the same this thing. Okay. So what you are
Okay.
talking about is taste and preferences. Yes, if among Coke and Pepsi both are equal price, I like Pepsi because my taste is for Pepsi. I will go for Pepsi only. I will not buy Coke. That comes under taste and preferences. Okay. But when we are
Okay.
talking about general economy, we go about with general normal goods and general behavior of people. Okay, not specific
Okay.
behavior of people. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I have told you pure capitalism, this is not found anywhere. What we talk about US, Canada, Australia also, they follow capitalism, but there are restrictions in place by government because of these demerits that capitalism has. So society, it's a regulated capitalism and not pure capitalism. Okay, government restrictions are there, the measures are adopted so that these demerits which we have learned can be minimized. Okay, so that is why government, all these countries have government, they have democratic government, yes, and it is the work of the government to put restrictions in place so that more of social welfare also can be included in this. Okay, clear? Right, now next type of economy that we are going to learn is about socialism. When we talked about Karl Marx, I told you Karl Marx was a proponent of socialism, right? He advocated socialist economy instead of capitalist economy. He did not what is the- these demerits were highlighted by him only. Okay, so now we are going to learn about socialism. What is socialism? Socialism is totally opposite of capitalism, where capitalism is motivated by self interest. Socialism is motivated by social welfare. It is more about people, their welfare, their economic welfare, than about profit maximization and self interest. Okay, now we
Yes,
come
ma'am.
to the socialist economy. That is the second type of economy. Okay, so let's start with the features of socialist economy. Right, socialist economy is a planned economy. Everybody can see this size also, or should I enlarge the screen?
No, ma'am, it's okay.
No, ma'am, this is okay.
Is okay. Okay, I've got it. So socialism, it is an economic organization in which the production is owned by the whole community, right? It is not specific people who are controlling the production mechanism. It is as such a social society collectively owned by all. Okay, and it is operated by representatives of the people, like the elections, like we elect our representatives, who form the government. So it is looked after by the representative of the people, and it is their responsibility to develop the economy according to a proper planning. So this kind of economy, socialist economy, is also known as a planned economy, right? There is no private ownership in this. Everything is collectively owned by the state or by the people. Is it clear to you? Right, so it is the state which owns all the wealth and capital. If you remember capitalism, we had learned there is private ownership and inheritance. Yes, the first point was private ownership and inheritance. In this, it is the state, and state does not mean the government. State means all the people collectively own all wealth and capital. Okay, there is a control of state on all the production activities. So production activities which are taking place in such economy is not motivated by self-interest or profit maximization. It is motivated by social welfare. Okay, so social welfare is the chief motive which is behind all these activities, right? And use of resources is properly planned. It's a planned economy, so everything is planned and then it is carried out. So there is a basic central planning which takes place, and according to that only all the resources are divided, and all and it is decided that what is going to be produced and how much it is going to be produced, right? So it is basically Karl Marx who is the proponent of this kind of Shivam disconnected. It is Karl Marx who was a proponent of this kind of economy, the socialist economy, in his book named Capital. The name of the book was Capital. Okay, so first country which adopted this kind of socialism was Soviet Russia. You've heard about Russia? It was a socialist economy. Yes, it was Soviet Russia.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Who was
Ma'am,
it?
I
Shivam?
was like, I was
Yes.
disconnected. Yes,
Where
ma'am, I
was-
was disconnected from the Zoom app for 2 minutes.
Okay, so
I
what
was
did you miss?
disconnected because of network problem.
That's okay.
We were on that social thing, ma'am.
Social thing. Okay, I'll just repeat it again. So socialism or socialist economy is a planned economy, okay, where nothing is owned by an individual. There is no private ownership and inheritance. It is all collectively owned by the people. So there is state ownership in it. Okay, everything is planned. All the production activities that take place is according to a central planning, right? And it is not based on profit maximization and self-interest. So that means there is no free entry and exit. Okay, unlike capitalism, there is no free entry and exit, and it is not motivated by demand, where whichever sector has more demand, it is motivated by social welfare. Okay, so this was
Okay.
right, and the Soviet Russia was the first to adopt socialist economy, but socialism in most of the countries have failed, right? Why? How? We will learn about this. Okay, China, Cuba, Vietnam, they still have a somewhat socialist society. They still have. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
right. Now let's start with the features of socialism. Now, first feature, the most important feature is social property, right? All means of production are collectively owned by the state. There is no private ownership. It belongs to everybody. Okay, that means land, mines, factories, banks, all of this is owned by the state. There is no private banking system. It is a state banking system, and state in this sense is the country, not yes.
Ma'am, can you write this?
Yes, write it. Write it.
Okay.
You should write it. You people don't write? Then how are you making notes? When I send
Ma'am,
the
I do.
chapter, when I send
From the
chapters
workbook.
from
Ma'am,
the
I
workbook,
take the screenshots and then afterwards.
and then write. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Today I will put the next chapter also. I got it. So everything is owned collectively. All the trades, everything is owned collectively by the state. Very small amount of private property is there. Very small, right? Property is there. Small firms, very small firms will be there. But most of the large firms and all, they are all owned by the state. Okay. Then second is government is the only producer, right? So whatever economic problems we have, the basic problems of economy, that is how to produce, what to produce, how much to produce, these are known as the basic problems of economy. These are solved by planning by the government, right? Because government is the only producer. It will decide which sector needs how much of production. Okay, social welfare in this, unlike capitalism, it is interest and welfare of the entire society, which is the central idea, and not the self interest and profit maximization. Okay, therefore, even if some of the sectors are going in loss, production still happens in those sectors. Yes, for example, let's take a public sector unit like electricity. It's a public sector unit. Yes, electricity is required for everybody. It is for all. So even if this sector electricity is incurring losses, that means the revenue that it is generating. What is revenue? Revenue is what you get back, right? The revenue that they are getting, the electricity bills and all that we pay, it is revenue for the electricity board. Okay, so this public sector, if it is going in losses, that means the revenue that is generated is less than the expenditure that they are incurring to set up all these grids and to generate electricity, whatever expenditure they are incurring. If this is going in loss also, the production will not stop. Okay, because it is for the social welfare of the people. Electricity is a basic infrastructure that has to be given to the people. Okay, so even if it is going in loss, the production is not going to stop. Okay, then economic planning, this is also known as a planned economy. So everything is centrally planned, right? And all the productive resources are allocated by the authority, that is the government, that is, and this government is also selected by the people only. It is the people who appoint them. Okay, so all these are allocated according to a planning, the central planning that is done. Okay, clear? These 4 points are clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Then economic planning. Next is economic inequalities. Economic equalities. Okay, unlike the capitalism, in capitalism there was economic inequalities, right? There was a lot of gap between the rich and the poor. In this system of economy, the government, it aims at introducing equality in distribution and income, right? Equal opportunities of employment are given to all. Equal what do you they equal opportunities are given for their skill development, for knowledge increment, for productivity. Okay, there might be some income difference. Why there will be some income difference? Because knowledge, skill and productivity of all the people cannot be equal. Yes, my productive capacity is more than my neighbors, so there is some difference in the skills. My knowledge might be more than my neighbors, so there always exists some difference in these between two people. Therefore their wages, their income might differ a little. Okay, so some income difference is there. It is not possible that I am also paid 100 rupees per hour, and that person who has less knowledge than me also is paid 100 rupees per hour, which, so little difference will be there. But most of the, but they all have, all the people that are there in that country, in that state, they are given equal opportunities for employment, and it is tried that this distribution of income and wealth is equally distributed to all, so there are no disparities among them. Okay, then absence of competition. Since there is only one producer, that is government, there will be no competition in the market. Okay, everything is produced, everything is controlled by the government only, so there is no competition in the market. In fact, there is mutual cooperation which prevails in the market, because all sectors have to cooperate with each other to maximize production. Okay, then since it is not a profit motivated society, it is not a demand motivated society, importance to price is not there. Okay, since there is no competition in the market, price does not play a important role in such kind of economy. It is all planned, so prices are also planned. Okay, it is set according to the resource allocation. Okay, then people corporation, I told you before also, because there is absence of competition, people full corporation among the people is there, so that they can achieve the targets. If there is no cooperation among different sectors, the targets which have been set by the central planning authority cannot be achieved. It's very simple in that. Okay, so because it is one producer, control of one body only, mutual cooperation is there, so that targets can be fulfilled. Okay, these points are clear to all. So now these were the main features of socialism. Now we come to the merits. Why is a socialist society better than a capitalist society? So most of the merits we have in the features only, right? The most important motive is social welfare, not profit. Okay, capitalism is a profit motivated society, whereas socialism is a social welfare motivative society. Okay, so useful products are more produced rather than profitable goods. Okay, what has more utility to people, what are more useful, what increases the social welfare of the people, those products are produced more, right, and not the profitable goods. Okay, then second is allocation of resources by central planning authority, right, because it is all a planned society, it is all allocated by a central society. Luxuries are not produced, luxury goods are not produced at the cost of necessities. Okay, that means cars are not produced at the cost of food grains. Food grains are more important, so more importance is given to food grain. When we started with economics, I told you we have unlimited want with limited resources. Yes or no? Okay, so and these resources have alternate uses. Okay, so in a planned economy, it is see that which specific resource is more better utilized for social welfare, so those products are produced more, so resources are allocated more to that sector rather than consumer goods. Okay, and then there is no wasteful expenditure on advertisement. Capitalism, because there is a lot of competition in the market, same kind of products are available in the market because of the demand, therefore there is a lot of expenditure on advertisement, which is actually a wasteful expenditure, right? In socialism, because there is only one producer, only social goods are social goods in the sense which increases the social welfare of the people, those are produced. There is no competition in the market, and therefore there is no requirement of advertisement, and therefore no wasteful expenditure on advertisement is done. Okay, first point clear, better allocation of resources, right? Second is social justice, because this is based on socialism, social welfare, income inequalities are reduced. In capitalism, we had lot of disparity in the income. Yes, rich poor people and the poor people. We had two societies, haves and have-nots. That is not the case in socialism, because it is based on social justice, because the resources are equally distributed among all the people, inequalities of income are reduced, and because it is based on social welfare, there is no exploitation of labor. Yes, there was exploitation of labor in capital, so you will remember the differences also. Okay, one question can be very easily explain the merits of socialism or explain the merits of capitalism. Another question easily can come up, what are the differences between capitalism and socialism, right? So these I am telling you side by side differences also. Okay, so there is no exploitation of labor, necessary training and education is provided to all. I told you there is equal opportunities of employment, all the necessary knowledge, the necessary skills, they are provided to the people, okay, for their skill development.
Ma'am,
Yes,
and this all is provided by government.
yes, it is all a planned central authority that is elected by the people, which is the government. After social justice is economic stability. Okay, I didn't make the slides only. Economic stability, I told you in capitalism, what happens? There is a lot of exploitation. It is based basically on price mechanism. Price plays a very important role. And because of lot of competition in the market, the price keeps fluctuating. Okay, and when the price keep fluctuating, there is economic instability in the market, right? But this is not there in social economy. Why it is not there in social economy? Because prices are fixed by the government only. Yes, according to the social welfare or whatever planned, whatever resources allocation has happened, it is fixed by